Hey everybody, welcome to another happy episode of my Partridge Family Collection. Happy New Year! Hope you're having a great New Year. Can you believe it's 2026? Am I like the only one still saying that? It's like, I feel like it was 1976, the bicentennial year. It was riding my red, white, and blue skateboard down the street, and I blinked, and now it's 2026. It's so crazy. I know you know how I feel. Time just... It's elastic, as they say. Very crazy times. But we're going to be talking a little bit about 1976 and the bicentennial year as we get into our retro review at the end of the episode. So stay tuned for that. But what you're really thinking, I know, because I can read your mind. We're on the same wavelength. You're thinking, Patty, what in the heck are you wearing? What is that? I'm telling you, these high collars, these late 60s, early 70s shirts did not bode well for me today. But this is a Hang 10, vintage Hang 10 actually, and you could tell from the little feet. They were surf wear that came out. They were founded in 1960 in Seal Beach, California by Duke Boyd and Doris Moore, I believe. Big brand in Southern California that just took off. We saw it in movies, we saw it in TV shows. We saw the Brady kids wear Hang 10 quite a lot. I think all of them did it at one point or another. In fact, I remember seeing Robert Reed show up with the Hang 10 shirt on as well. Of course, with the Partridge Family, Danny wore Hang 10 all the time. And then we saw like Chris and Tracy wear Hang 10 as well. So they were popular for that age group, right? And I wore them all. I actually still wear it. Duke Boyd sold the company to a Chinese conglomerate, I think. But if you're in East Asia, you could still find Hang 10 storefronts. Go in there and buy some cool shirts and hoodies and things. I have quite a few. You can go on their website, hang10.com, and still buy some great gear. I'm not promoting it, and I'm not getting any money for it. I just like the brand still, and it brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. I have quite a few vintage Hang 10 shirts, and you could tell the vintage from the tags. Here's a close-up of this one that I'm actually wearing that it says made in California. And we see the tags kind of change over the years. And here's a more modern day tag here with it sewn in. There's a reason why I'm talking about vintage clothes and fashion as much as I can, is because on this episode, I'm going to be sharing a couple pieces that I have from my Partridge Family by Kate Greenaway clothing line. This clothing line, I've talked about it before, especially when we did the show on Susan Diaz Laurie paper dolls. I talked a little bit about the Kate Greenaway clothing line that came out in 1972. It was sold in big department stores. I remember it being sold at JCPenney. I think I've showed this ad to you before. This is a JCPenney ad. And you kind of see all the different pieces they had and all the different styles. I mean, they had, dresses, skirts, shorts, blouses, jeans. And, and the patterns were very unique. A lot of them had the partridge included in the fabric. Sometimes they had the patch of the partridge, which we'll look at. You can see, and then some like this, the denim jeans actually had a patch of David on them. So, and the Partridge Family, all the powers that be of the Partridge Family were very much into how can we make more money. And so this seems like a natural fit, right? Wow, we'll make a clothing line. We'll see Tracy show up in a dress, and then the little girls can buy the dress at JCPenney or wherever they buy their clothes, and then we'll incorporate it into the paper dolls. I mean, it's a whole money-making thing, right? But they were popular. I mean, I didn't really own any Partridge Family dresses. I think I had a pair of shorts and like with the pattern and stuff. So we would see Tracy wear them, and it was like kind of cool. Lori, I think, was a little too old. I think the sizes were sizes 4 to 14, like a junior miss 14, ages 2 to 10 or 11, 2 to 12, written down over there, 2 to 12, I guess. But we did see Susan Day wear the patterns There were some dresses that she wore that incorporated the same patterns that we saw with the clothing line. So I have a couple pieces, and I also have another wearable, shareable Partridge Family piece that you may have never seen before. Maybe you've seen pictures of it, but I actually have it. So we'll share that. But first, let's look at a couple of dresses that I have from the Partridge Family Kate Greenaway collection and talk a little bit about it. I have actually hanging on my door here. So let's turn around and take a look at it. We'll take a closer look at the stitching and the tags and everything, but first just want to give you kind of an overall look of the dress here. And this is for a little girl, right? I would think like kindergarten, first grade. I love the pattern. So great. We'll take a look at the back here before we take a look at the tag and the stitching. This is heavy material. It's 100% cotton. And I love that it's in such great shape. I mean, look at the tag. Let's take a look at the tag, because when you're buying or collecting vintage clothes, you know, the tag is everything, because that kind of verifies that this is the Partridge Family by Kate Greenaway dress. And the tag is in such great shape. I mean, that's the first thing to go, really, when you're buying vintage clothes, because, you know, you're washing it in the washing machine, you're throwing it in the dryer, and these tags get very frayed, and sometimes they tear. Or sometimes if you had a kid like me who was like, Mom, the tag is itching me, Mom would just kind of lop it off, and then you would have a dress without a tag. And then you could see, let's see if I got it here. You could see it says, let's see if I can focus it here. It says machine wash warm. No. Tumble dry medium. No, do not use chlorine bleach. This is size 8, 100% cotton. Yeah, so that's the thing with these old vintage clothes, is that, you know, kids wore them, they got dirty, they got stained, they got washed, they got dried in hot water. But this dress looks to me like either it was never worn that much, or maybe, you know, the mom was hand washing. I remember my grandma in the early 70s hand washed clothes and hung them on the line. I mean, that wasn't so out of date. And then you can see, of course, the signature patch here of the partridge. We saw this on a lot of the blouses and shirts. And the dresses, obviously. So they incorporated a little partridge or something that had to do with the Partridge Family somewhere on these garments. They weren't always the same. These buttons are plastic, which again, you know, they're not cracked. They're not, you know, sometimes you get like the coating or whatever scratched off. This is pristine. This is a very pristine dress for, you know, size 8, 100% cotton. For a little girl going to kindergarten or first grade, maybe, I would imagine. 7 years old, 8 years old. Very cool, right? And then the stitching, take a look at this kind of, I would imagine this is a long sleeve, or maybe not even a quarter sleeve, but very nice. No holes for moths or anything like that. I keep these in, and I'll show you my other dress that I have. I keep these in an acid-free garment bag, and that seems to do the trick as far as keeping them pretty pristine. But I thought you'd like to see that. The other dress I have is even cooler, I think. It's the granny dress, the infamous granny dress. And again, this is for a little girl. I don't really know what size it is, but let's take a closer look at this here. And you can see the lace, very Kate Greenaway. This is very Kate Greenaway. You got the lace collar, lace sleeves, and again, this dress looks a little bit worn, more so than the other one. And you can see it's kind of dingy on the lace here, little high waist. Let's see, a little stitching around here. And then also you can just see the pattern, which is very cool. And you have the little more traditional partridge. So this is kind of subtle, right? You wouldn't, I guess if you didn't know it was a Partridge Family Kate Greenaway dress, you wouldn't know. Because it doesn't have like the bust design or the little partridge, but it does have this very cool traditional partridge all over. You could see Lori wearing something like this, but this is very small. It's for a little girl. Let's take a look at the back. And it looks the same as the front, but when I first got this dress, I thought this was the front because it has buttons. Right. So I remember having a few dresses that had the buttons up the back. It was really annoying. You had to get your mom's help to undress, take the dress off, or if you're just like me, just pull it off over my big head. But this is the back, and you could tell because of the tag is in the back. And I'll give you a close-up of the tag. You can see it's kind of frayed. This is more usual, I think, for vintage clothes. You can see the frayed tag, but it's also, you know, the Partridge Family logo by Kate Greenaway in the green printing. Nothing on the back, but this is hanging by a thread, literally. But it is on the back. So this is actually the back of the dress. Turn it around here. But I love the lace, so Kate Greenaway. If you want to know the story of Kate Greenaway, I'll put the link on the show notes of the other video I did where we kind of talked about Kate Greenaway and her story. I also have a blog out, and so I'll put those links on the show note if you want to take a look. Very interesting. There was a revival. And Kate Greenaway, by the way, even coined the term granny dress, because granny dresses were pretty popular, you know, in the late 60s, early 70s, the hippie girls. This is definitely like a long dress, on a long granny dress for a little girl. So very cool. I thought you'd get a kick out of seeing these very rare dresses from the Partridge Family Kate Greenaway collection. Did you have one of these? Did you have something from the clothing line, or have you ever seen it? Did you remember going to the store and seeing them? I do. Very cool. All right, I have something else that's cool to share with you. Let's go to the overhead. How fun is this? Are you having a blast? I'm having so much fun. Okay, I'm going to show you something very cool that you've probably only seen pictures of. Maybe you have one. I don't know. This is a suede belt. And this came out in 1972. It was handmade, but then it was commissioned or trademarked by Columbia Pictures. And it actually came with a suede purse or handbag, which we'll talk about in a second. But this is very cool. It is made of completely of suede. It's approximately 2 inches wide at the belt here. But where the picture of David's head is shown, it's about 4.5. So it's pretty big. And you can see this kind of raised and sewn into the suede. And this is suede as well. And then it's got the signature there. I'm going to show you this tag in a second, because the tag actually came with the handbag, but you can see it's very well made. It's, like I said, it's handmade. An individual made these and then commissioned them, I guess, through Columbia Pictures. And you can see that this is an original tag. And then it says the Partridge Family with the Partridge Family logo, so we know that it was licensed. David will love you even more with this bag by Pyramid. 1972 trademark of Columbia Pictures Industries, Inc. Now, I went on David Cassidy's website, because the davidcassidy.com, and in the fan site, they actually have pictures of this belt, which is a little darker and a lighter silhouette of David and his microphone. You can see there. Let's see, these are pictures from the website. And then also they have a picture of the suede handbag that came with it. And the bag was a light pink suede with a black silhouette of David and holding that microphone. It was square, it looks like square or rectangular shaped with a long strap. So I'm not sure if the handbag and the belt were sold together. If so, then this tag goes with the bag. But I think they were. But very interesting, right? Have you ever seen this before? And the fact that this person made these and then got it licensed is just amazing. I think you'd have to be a size 0 to actually wear it. If you were to put it on. That's, yeah, it's like an armband. But very cool, very wearable. Wearable David Cassidy. Very cool. So much fun to look at this vintage clothes, but especially the Partridge Family by Kate Greenaway clothing line. Very cool. I had to change my shirt because those vintage clothes, I'm telling you, if you do buy some vintage clothes, just give yourself an extra size, because either they were just smaller back then, or, you know, sizes change, I guess, between brands and things, or, you know, things got shrunk down because everything was 100% cotton. You couldn't move. So this is a more modern day hang 10 vintage style, but modern hang 10. So you can actually move in it. Got those mixed blends. They did, you know, now I know why everybody loved polyester when it came out, or when it became popular in the mid 70s, mid to late 70s. I mean, you couldn't do the hustle, right? Without polyester. You couldn't do the night fever night. You couldn't do that. You couldn't do all that. What came first, polyester or disco? We'll never know. By the way, that granny dress is probably going to fall down. And if it does, I'm just going to keep recording because I don't have time. Okay, you guys ready? Talking about polyester. Let's do a retro review. Well, you know I love the bicentennial year. I love 1976. If you didn't live through it, if you lived through it, I know a lot of you did. You're watching this video. It was just a different time, right? Things were changing in the 70s, and you know there was no Vietnam War that was ended by 1976. You know, the protests, riots. Well, you know, there was really none of that going on. So it was a new sense of optimism and enlightenment happening. We were starting to discover ourselves and discover that, you know, we were all like very positive and optimistic, I guess. And 1976 brought that. Now, there was a lot of commercialism around the bicentennial year, of course. Like I said, I had a red, white, and blue skateboard. I had red, white, and blue shorts and stars and stripes t-shirts. And, you know, my bike was red, white, and blue. My roller skates were red, white, and blue. So it was a big thing, a big push. We had the bicentennial moments on TV, and during the commercials, they tell us what happened on that day in 1776. So it was a lot of fun, and that's the reason why I need to do this retro review right now on this great movie. I don't know why they don't do more movies based in 1976. It was such a great, fun, crazy year. And of course, I'm going to review this movie that came out in 1990 called The Spirit of 76, starring the one and only David Cassidy, among many others. And it's a really good film. I have it on, it's out in a couple different versions, but I have this DVD, and I'll be talking about this a little bit. But let's take a look at the trailer.
America, 2176.
History is over.
Not if we can save it.
We want you to pilot that mission.
Back in time.
How far back are we talking about?
1776.
We must find the Constitution.
Prepare yourself for a journey back to the strangest, most alien place ever experienced.
Looks like we made it.
Oh, no.
1976.
What sign are you? Because my mood ring just like totally changed colors.
What happens now?
Now, we boogie.
Starring disco dancing,
I suggest we get you guys some new threads like immediately.
leisure suits,
Barf City.
sensitivity training,
Excuse me, what are you doing?
I'm exercising my freedom of choice and leaving.
No.
Look what your mother and I just bought.
fabulous cars,
Is that the kind of car I think that is?
Everybody was
kung fu fighting, beanbag chairs, streaking.
Good day, officers.
And much, much more.
I've heard this before.
Sure you have. It's the hustle.
So released in 1990, The Spirit of 76 was directed by Lucas Reiner and co-written by Lucas Reiner and Roman Coppola. Those names sound familiar to you, I bet. Lucas Reiner is the son of Carl Reiner. Roman Coppola, of course, the son of Francis Ford Coppola. Produced by Susie Landau, the daughter of Martin Landau. The costume design was by a very young Sofia Coppola. So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, there's a bunch of Nepo babies doing a film. And I thought that too. But until you see it, you're like, wow, this is a really good movie. They did a really great job. And Sofia Coppola was like 17 at the time doing these costumes for a year that she wasn't even born in. Very crazy. Great cameos in this movie, including Carl Reiner. Actually, Rob Reiner's got a small part in it, but it's very memorable. Olivia d'Abu is in it. Leif Garrett, Moon Unit Zappa, Jeff McDonald and Steve McDonald, of course, better known as Red Cross. They're a 70s style band. There's some great behind the scenes footage on this DVD. If you get the, it's on demand, you can stream it. If you get the DVD, they have the bonus features, which of course includes the blooper reel and then also the voiceover. So Lucas Reiner and Carl Reiner did a voiceover for the movie, and they go into some behind the scenes. Actually, Lucas Reiner's the one who has all the memories on the making of this film because he, it was his baby basically. He wrote and directed it. And got all his friends involved and got his family involved. And, I say this too, is like Carl Reiner and Rob Reiner would not have been in this film if it was, if it wasn't any good. I'm sure they, want to help their sibling and their son, but I don't think they would have been a part of this had it not been good. And it is good.
And there's David Cassidy, who was just an icon in my life when I was 11 years old, 12 years old. I remember seeing the Partridge Family and thinking that was the greatest thing in the world, to live with your family and be in a band with your family.
Now, Lucas wasn't a band.
I couldn't believe that he was in this movie. It was amazing. Everybody really did it, I think, just to be involved in a fun project. I mean, those I think were actually David's boots. Those were his platform shoes from the 70s. So people brought their own clothes, and I think everybody, at the time this was made, there hadn't been a real 70s revival film, it hadn't yet really seeped into the mainstream culture like it has now. So I think everybody who participated in the film really got the, joke that we were making and really enjoyed kind of spoofing, these hairstyles. And
very fun to get the DVD. Of this film. It's not an Academy Award winning film. It's an independent film. But for what it is, which is a comedy, it's very short. I think the running time is just a little over an hour. It's predictable, but it's just so much eye candy and so much kind of tongue-in-cheek comedy. And it's so well done. If I'm going to rate this film for what it is, I tried to give it 4 partridges, but I just couldn't do it. I'm giving it 5 partridges just because for what it is. If I was gonna rate Back to the Future at 5 I would probably rate this film at like a 2 or a 3, right? If we were comparing. But I'm rating it just based on itself. And it's a film that I've watched over and over again. I just think it's a hoot. I see something different every time I watch it. The music's great. Red Cross is great. The McDonald brothers. Leif Garrett is a surprise. He's so funny and he makes fun of himself. David makes fun of himself, of course, like nobody else.
Is that I'm stuck here.
Oh, this is somebody's personal lunchbox.
Now you know how we feel. Why didn't I listen?
So there's David trying to break with his, being stuck as Keith Partridge, perceived as this Partridge family icon. I think he has gotten past it.
So it's like little things like that are just that make the movie fun, funny. You will laugh out loud, and it's worth 5 partridges for what it is, which is a fun comedy. Take your mind off of things going on, and really captures 1976. I mean, credit to Lucas Reiner. He really did a great job in capturing that time for, kids that he said he was little when he was, in 1976. So, but I like it. 5 partridges, and I highly recommend it. I'm so happy to retro review this right now. In fact, I think I'll watch it again. It doesn't take any. It's like, it's a little over an hour. Takes no time to watch. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I'm glad that you guys stopped by and took some time, relaxed, sat back, watch me share some of my memorabilia with you. If you haven't yet, check out my Partridge-Family-Collection.com website. Have all the links there. Take you to everything, all the videos, the podcast, the Facebook group, the blogs, and everything. And also, if you like the show, subscribe. Give a thumbs up so I know that you like the episode. Hit the bell so that you're notified when the next episode drops. Leave a comment. I love to know your comments, and let me know if you had like a Partridge Family dress or shorts or shirt. Let me know what you think of The Spirit of 76. Great film. David Cassidy, so good and funny. But if you do all those things, it helps other Partridge Family fans find the show, and that's what we want to do. We're a community. And I think it's just amazing to let the algos know, let those algorithms know that the Partridge Family fans are still here. They're still relevant. The show is still relevant, the music and everything that they gave us, the merchandise and the clothes and things. So much fun. So as always, guys, wishing you peace, love, and happiness. And we see you next time.